Hey everyone, and welcome to Eagle Eye with Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. Rube, there was some news this week with the Eagles. They got a coach hired away, and it was some former Eagle on Eagles crime. Doug Pederson hires Jim Bob Cooter as the passing game coordinator down in Jacksonville. Cooter's a guy we haven't really talked about much all year, but former offensive coordinator with the Lions, and he was a consultant for the Eagles, not even listed on their coaching list, but he did have a role here.
Yeah, it's a weird deal because they never officially announced that he was working there. I think Nick just mentioned it once. He was talking about play calling. He's like, we got all these guys in the building who've done it. And he mentioned them. And we're like, what? He doesn't work here.
Wait, what? Excuse me, Nick? You said what now?
It was a weird deal. We were in the tent outside the NovaCare complex, and I think it was during the summer, and he mentioned them. And so it's hard to know exactly what his role here was. That, it was kind of just, but he was obviously important to Nick. He mentioned him several times and thought highly of him. I don't.
He was like from what I understand about his role, he was like a consultant was his title, but he was like special projects. So he would kind of study plays around the league. He would study the Eagles plays and then report back to Nick. So it wasn't like day-to-day stuff.
So was he the guy who kept telling Nick to run that jet sweep with Rager?
I hope not.
Well,
maybe you hope he was. Yeah,
I hope he was. But yeah, obviously, what I was getting at is obviously Nick thought highly of him to bring him in and to have him, have another set of eyes up there. I think it's hard to say it's a huge loss, but yeah, you want consistency certainly on the staff. Interesting. I thought it was funny that, like, when Doug became head coach here, he kept all the previous, he kept all his predecessors' coaches. Now he's taken his successors' coaches. That was pretty funny. And he's firing all his predecessors' coaches. Who would want Urban Meyer's staff? But yeah, it's interesting to see Doug rating Nick's staff a little bit is kind of ironic.
Yeah, so they lose them. And my understanding was that, the Eagles had some other coaches that were possibly going to get hired elsewhere. Brian Johnson, Kevin Patullo, both of them ended up not getting offensive coordinator jobs. But they had, like, Jim Bob was one of the guys they had in the building they thought could take over one of those roles if one of those guys got hired away. So they lose him. He's kind of like a buffer coach, and they lose him. And it hurts. It is funny to see him go to Doug down there. And I wondered, do you think he called Jeff Stoutland just to feel it out?
Good question. Can't hurt, I guess, but it might have been war between these two franchises if he tried to poach Stout. You don't do that.
Yeah. I wonder if he, like, I was wondering about Roy Isvan, who's like the second in charge, because I don't think Stout would leave, but Doug already hired an offensive line coach, so he's not doing it. But that was another possibility that I thought, hey, maybe that's an option for him, but he didn't do it.
What do you make of Doug not considering Deuce or not even bringing him in, as far as we know, for an interview? I don't know if that's. Now, I was a little surprised. I thought he might at least bring him in.
No, I mean, I thought maybe, but I was more surprised that the Lions have an offensive coordinator and it's not Deuce. And they promoted someone who's not Deuce, and that's
promoted their tight ends coach.
Yeah, that was more surprising than Doug not bringing him in for an interview.
Sure, yeah. I don't. Maybe, yeah. I don't get that. I just hope somebody gives Deuce a shot at some point, because I know he'd be good at it.
Yeah. Well, he was on that 99 team, which is a good segue.
It is. That's impressive. I knew it was coming.
Yeah. You looked at that 99 team ended up with how many coaches and coordinators? It's pretty wild.
It's incredible when you look back at Andy Reid's first staff, and this is how you hire staff. You hire guys you don't know, who you've researched and you feel strongly about, instead of just bringing your friends in. I mean, sometimes that works, but he never had met any of his assistants, or at least he'd never worked with them, and he hadn't met most of them. But when you look at that staff, we know 7 guys became head coaches: Leslie Frazier, Brad Childress, Ron Rivera, Pat Shermer, Sean McDermott, John Harbaugh, who had been there the last year under Ray Rhodes in '98, and Steve Spagnuolo. And out of that group, and then it's funny because none of them were coordinators here. Sean was at the end, but none of them were coordinators. But then you look at the players on the team: Eric Bieniemy, Doug Pederson, Deuce Staley, and Mike Caldwell. Doug Pederson becomes a head coach. Eric Bieniemy, at some point, you would think will be a head coach. He's won a Super Bowl as a coordinator. Doug has won a head coach won a Super Bowl as a head coach, and then you look at Mike Caldwell, just got hired by Doug as his defensive coordinator, won a Super Bowl 2 years ago with Tampa, and Deuce, who we were just talking about, and then there's Big Red. So there's 7 assistants, a head coach, and 4 players who've become at least head coaches or coordinators. And that team was 5'11", 5'10", 1, which is so funny. And then the year before, Gruden and Sean Payton. Gruden was here 2 years before. Sean Payton was here the year before. So that whole late '90s was like, those teams sucked. But you think about the coaches that came through those really bad teams from '97 to '99, and I mean, Harbs has won a Super Bowl. Ron Rivera got to a Super Bowl as a head coach. It's pretty amazing. Spags won a Super Bowl with Big Red. And Mike Caldwell, Doug's defensive coordinator, it's interesting. He's been a part of a couple pretty devastating Eagles playoff losses because he was on the 2003 Panthers team that beat the Eagles at the Link in the NFC Championship game, and then he was on the Bucs staff this year when they beat the Eagles. So. But I'm happy for Mike. That's kind of the upshot of all of this. But it's incredible to think. And then Juan Castillo was on that staff, who became a coordinator, kind of oddly, and won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. Got fired here in 12, goes down with Harbs as a consultant, and wins a Super Bowl while the Eagles are going 4-12. So that staff and that season and that team. You talk about the cradle of the coaches. It's incredible to look back and see. And there's other guys on that team who could have been coaches. I mean, Ike Reese has talked about how Harbs tried to bring him on as special teams coach when he first got hired, but he wasn't ready to do that. A young family and didn't want to, work those hours. And there's other guys on that staff who could have been coaches too. But it really is crazy to look back.
Yeah. So Doug Pederson just hired his offensive coordinator while we're recording this.
Oh, yeah?
Press Taylor.
Interesting. Yeah.
Hired Press Taylor.
So the zone press is back on. Well, good luck, Doug.
He's a loyal guy. I mean, that's why he got fired here in large part.
Yeah.
Was because he wanted to run it back with Press. But, Press look, I don't think he was great here. But I also think there's something there with him.
Oh, I agree.
And, and if he was from like another building and Doug wanted to hire him, everyone would have been on board with it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I don't know if, the genetic thing comes into play. I mean, Press's older brother is coaching for a Super Bowl in a couple of days. So maybe that adds some cachet to the family name. I don't know. But no, I think a lot of the assistants here have gotten raw deals as far as the public perception, like Mike Groh, and just because he
was a good receivers coach. He wasn't a very good coordinator.
Yeah, no, he was a really good receivers coach. But I don't think he was the worst offensive coordinator ever, but sometimes you just don't know with these guys. I mean, sometimes you do, like Carson Walsh. Sometimes but it'll be interesting to see. I think Press is good with quarterbacks, and you try to surround Trevor Lawrence with as many good teachers as you can. And you still got to hire a quarterbacks coach. Will be an interesting hire. But Mike Caldwell, former Eagles player, and Press Taylor, former Eagles assistant, both heading down to Jacksonville.